What's going on, guys? It's Bruce Matson, your host of the show. The show has no name yet, but it's all good. I'm here to talk some football, NFL drafts, Devy, Dynasty, all that, and then some, because that's how we roll here. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you give me a like so I can continue to produce videos, get more views, give me a little bump on the algorithm, a little bump. But today's a big deal because I'm going to be talking about Devonta Smith. You know, the Heisman Trophy winner. The guy who has all this controversy on Twitter and other social media platforms about how well he can play, how well he projects for the NFL. And I'm the guy that's going to dig in there for you and let you know what I think. But Devonta Smith, there's a lot here to unscrape. There's going to be multiple videos coming out between now and the draft. I'm going to have to preface that, but this is a quick little overview. Going deep on him. He's had over 1,000 yards in the last 2 years. This year's the blow-up year, 1,641 yards and 20 touchdowns. Last year was his breakout year. He was around 21 years old, 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. Been a big part of Alabama's offense for a long time, pretty much. His sophomore season, only 693 yards receiving, but 6 touchdowns. And he has been dynamite this year. He has been balling, out of control. He's obviously won the Heisman, and he will be a first-round pick. Will he be top 10? More than likely. Top 15? Definitely. But he's going to have draft capital for days. Just with that, from a dynasty fantasy football standpoint, that makes it easier to invest in him, because when you get that high of draft capital, you're going to hold value in fantasy football, dynasty, Devy, for a long while, at least a year, 2 years, before you start seeing a major dip. He might hover, may drop a little bit, may raise a little bit, but even if he's not doing anything, he's still going to hold value. So that gives you time to figure out what you got, and you can trade out of that stock. So no matter what happens, when you draft him come your rookie draft, when it comes time for your rookie draft, he's not going to be 100% bust, because you're going to get this time period to figure out what to do with him. And you can always sell him off for something else. That's the beauty of drafting a guy with that high of draft capital. And since he's got a lot of backers, he's going to have influences in, I say, almost every dynasty league. So you'll be able to flip him for something when his value starts to dip. So he is safe on that standpoint. And then when you go to watching him on film, from what we've seen this year, we saw him dominate, and he's still dominating because we still have the national championship game in front of us, which I may have to do another video of him from that game. But I'm willing to cut my teeth today because I'm just really eager to get the word out on Devonta Smith. And anyways, he is a good player. There's a lot to like about his game. He's quick, he gets downfield, he's very sudden in his routes, he's very nuanced, he's very fundamental, very good at bringing in the ball, catches the ball well, tracks the ball well, and he's always open. He creates separation from defenders. He sells the routes before breaking it off, which helps him get more separation. There's just a lot to like about this guy. And then you see him on tape, you do notice how thin his frame is. That is what brings the controversy. One aspect of it, I guess, is this narrow frame. And that's understandable. But I also see ways where he can win on the field, and that's what I want to concentrate on when I look at these prospects, not the nagging negatives, because if a player's got multiple ways they can win on the field, like Devonta Smith here, he can win with speed, he can win with suddenness, and he's a nuanced route runner, then those attributes, if in the right situation, which is very well could happen, considering he's going to be a high draft pick, could just aid itself into fantasy production. It just very well could. There is a massive red flag here. He's around 160 to 175 pounds. He's very slight. He has a very thin frame. Not many wide receivers in the NFL look like him. Very few. The caveat to that is when you're that size, 160, 165, 170, maybe 175, whatever he is, we'll find out come combine time. But it's very easy to put on lean mass. That's when it's at your easiest, when you're that low. So he could jump into the 180s by his second year in the NFL, and what does that matter then? 180, 190, and next thing you know, he's at normal BMI. So you have to look at it from there, like what you weigh in at the combine, what you weigh in Senior Bowl or whatever he's going to weigh in at isn't what he's going to be weighing at 2 years from now. This is Dynasty Fantasy Football. We own these players throughout their career. Their weights are going to fluctuate, just like yours. Think about how much you weighed before Christmas and Thanksgiving, and now it's all different. Your game shook up. Same thing with Devonta Smith. Once he hits that weight room, once he gets with a different strength and conditioning program, he's going to hear these doubters on the internet. He's going to hear this stuff throughout draft season. He's heard this probably throughout his career. He mentioned it during his Heisman Trophy ceremony. It's on his mind. So there's a chance he can improve upon this. It's very easy to, especially where he's at right now. You can tell he can put a little bit more on his frame. I'm not 100% worried. I think he can. If you weighed in 185, 190 with what he did the last 2 years, I guarantee there'd be more riders on his train. Guaranteed. The other worry that people have on him is his age. He's currently 22 years old right now. He'll be 23 next November. Let's look at the typical plane for a rookie wide receiver and say he gives you minimal production. Maybe say CeeDee Lamb-ish of this year, not if Dak was still there. And say he doesn't even get 1,000, maybe like 800 yards, 700 yards, or whatever. And he really starts coming in year 2, year 3, like most rookies. That's why I'm bringing this up, like most rookies. Then he's productive for you when he's 23, 24. And then trajectory out, he starts becoming an old wide receiver a couple years after that. That's another problem. Typically, senior wide receivers who are at his age usually don't work out at the NFL level. Looking at this objectively, though, you have to understand that he produced big time this year, produced very well last year. He's going to have first-round draft capital. He's probably going to go to a team where he has the chance to be the wide receiver 1 pretty early in his career. There's a lot of things that could give him a boost. And again, when we draft him in Dynasty, since he has that first-round draft capital, there's going to be a longer window than most wide receivers where you could sell him. There's someone in your league, and there will always be someone in your league that's interested in him between now and 18 months from now. So you have time to figure it out. Not a complete waste if you draft him and things don't look good instantly. That's the plus. So you got a little insurance policy. However, he would be an outlier if he did hit due to his late breakout age, his older age, of course, him being a senior. But he is talented. You cannot look me in the face or anybody else in the face and say he's a bad football player. Devonta Smith, no matter what happens between now and the end of his NFL career, he's not a bad football player. He wasn't a bad college prospect. He's not bad. There are some red flags, but he's still a very, very good player, very, very good prospect, and he has ways he can win on the field. I want to concentrate on how he wins on the field and how he can produce points from a fantasy football aspect. That's what we're doing here, and that's what we need to do. There's a clear path to success here. Will he ever be a wide receiver 1 in fantasy? I don't know. The odds are kind of against it, but odds are also good. It also depends on the situation he lands in. He'll need high volume passing attack, good quarterback, blah, 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 like most wide receivers. I don't really put him in the range of like a Calvin Johnson, Julio, that top shelf wide receiver prospect. I just think he's just good, solid. I think there's other wide receivers in this draft that could usurp him, jump him in production. This is just a very good class. We're just going to have wide receivers just pop off left and right like fireworks, like last year's class. And it's going to happen throughout the years as this class develops. We're going to see the same thing with last year's class and years before. These wide receivers are just going to jump up and down throughout the trajectory of their career. We're going to see this with Devonta Smith, Rashad Bateman, Rondale Moore, and the rest of the cast and crew. Never forget about Jamar Chase. It's just how things are going to work out. We have a big pool of good wide receivers, and just giving him the wide receiver 1 of this draft without looking at his red flags and without looking at the rest of the pool is very dangerous. Another thing that's dangerous is just looking at those red flags and not looking at the total picture, because what he does good on the field is highly good or very good or elite level, like getting downfield, creating separation with his route running, getting in and out of breaks, selling his routes. Those are all really good things. NFL scouts, coaches, coordinators, quarterbacks look for and look at, and it's going to help him out. So I want to look at the bad and I want to look at the good, and I'm just moving him around the ranks. He's going to be up and down for the next 3, 4, 5 months, and that's just the process. I don't have to have a guy as my wide receiver 1 right now. He's not my wide receiver 1, and I think he's probably going to land maybe a little higher than normal, but he could be lower too. I don't want to put him in top 3 right now, but I think he's a player that is going to be safe at least. But I think the upside's there too. I'm not down on him, but I am very, very observant with the rest of the class because this is a good class. It would be a misinformation or like malpractice to just say, hey, he's wide receiver 1, set it and forget it. Forget Jamar Chase, forget Rashad Bateman, forget Rondale Moore, forget about Kyle Pitts even. Forget about Diami Brown. Forget about all these guys. Set him as wide receiver 1, set it and forget it, because that'd be the worst possible thing to do, especially it's January 7th. We have months to figure this out. He's going to be up and down. He's a floater for me. That is what he is. Don't forget about Waddle either. The big conversation we should have right now, should we like Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle better? Because those are 2 very, very good prospects. Alabama. I like them both better than Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. That is concrete for me. I will not waver from that. I like them both better than both those receivers. I think Waddle is also going to be going in the first round, just probably a little bit later than Smith. But these are 2 good players. That's something you want to consider when you're looking through these wide receivers. I have a lot more coming at you about Devonta Smith. I imagine I'm going to be making a lot of videos. And if that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you give me a like. Give me some comments. Tell me what you think. Where do you want them drafted at? How do you like your wide receivers this year? How do you like them cooked up? As Russell Wilson would say. But it's going to be interesting. And I'm here to drop all kinds of content. Doing what? 2, 3 videos a week? There's going to be weeks where I'm doing 5 or more. So you definitely want to be following along. But until next time, hit that subscribe. Peace out.